This is meant to be a practical, step-by-step and guide to forensic investigation of ballot papers. And this will be taken by no other person than Mr. Emmanuel Olomu, FFIS, question documents examiner, and the chairman of the governing council of the Forensic Investigator Society Nigeria. So let us get out our pen, our papers, and take notes of this step-by-step practical guide on investigation of ballot papers. Over to you, sir.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning, sir.
All protocol duly observed.
Fine.
My name is Emmanuel Lomu. I'm a question document examiner. This topic is about techniques that you can use in forensic investigation of electoral related crimes. But because of time, I'm going to limit this to just how to investigate ballot papers. That is forensic investigation of ballot papers. And on this, we are going to concentrate particularly on two aspects. The first is on the PU code, that is polling unit code. Then the second one is the pattern fingerprint on ballot papers. So those are the two areas that we are going to deal with because of time. On every, let me start with this. Every polling unit in Nigeria is assigned a unique identification code by INEC. And this code typically reflects some things, and that is some information. For example, look at my screen. Can you see the screen?
Yes, we can see the screen,
yes,
sir.
yes.
Yes. Look at this, for example, 24/05/01/008. That's a polling unit code. And if you are going to analyze the code that this thing, the information that this code is carrying, that 24 represents the state code. The 05 represents the local government code. Then 01 ward or area or ward or registration code. Then the last one, that is 008, represents the polling unit number. And where can you see these numbers? You can see it on the voter's card, INEC polling unit, INEC polling unit list, election result sheets, the one with the EC80 and some other ones like that. Then we have a official election all those documents, you have this on them, except on ballot paper. But before I move on, there is difference between polling booth and polling unit. A polling unit is the official coded electoral location. That location, where a polling booth is just the physical voting cubicle inside the unit and does not carry any code. Then what is the purpose of this code? To INEC, it is used for voter registration and allocation. It is also used for election logistic and material distribution and result collation and tracking. For example, Form EC8 and all other forms. So those are the things that INEC use this for. But what is the forensic importance of the code? Firstly, It can be used to trace origin of the ballot paper used in a specific polling unit. It can be used to detect ballot diversions. That is, if you have a kind of a ballot diversion, that you discover that, or you suspect that there are ballot papers that are coming from another polling unit, you can use the polling unit code to confirm or to refute that theory. You can also use it to identify ballot substitution or forgery. You know, there's no document that cannot be forged, but if ballot papers are forged, it is possible for the polling unit code to be used to identify whether it is forged or not. Also, it is used to link fingerprints or markings on ballots to a specific location. And lastly, it can be used to cross-check overvoting versus accredited voters. Let's go to a case scenario. There's a suspect, assuming there's a suspect of overvoting in a polling unit that PU 2405010008, as you have it on the screen, is assigned to. Then how do we use that polling unit code? How do we use it to corroborate the fact that we believe that there's election fraud in that place, or to refute that theory? Now, the first thing is to gather all evidence. And what are those evidence that you are going to gather? The first is from EC8A. That's the resource sheet. You also need to obtain Beaver's accreditation report. Also, you need INEC IRF uploaded results. Then ballot papers. Voters register for the PU. So by the time you have all this, because one thing is this, in a polling unit, every document there can be traced to this. You can use this PU 2405010008 to trace them, to link them to that polling unit. If you are looking at all these documents from a polling unit, if there's anyone that is not consistent with what you have with the polling unit code, then something is a red flag. That's a red flag. Now let's quickly go to one or two things that we can do. The first one is a numerical analysis. Let's go to numerical analysis. From EC8A, we have accredited voters of about 231. Then the total vote is 280. In fact, by the time you look at it, 280 is greater than accredited voters, which is 231. This is purely prima facie overvoting. It's something that you don't need to argue. It's 280 votes against accredited voters of 231. So we have excess. Then let's go ahead to cross that. Can you still hear me?
Yes, sir. We can hear you clearly.
Yes,
Yes, sir. We
yes,
can hear
we
you
are enjoying
clearly.
it.
Okay.
I
We are
can hear
enjoying
you.
it.
So assuming you have total
Yes, sir.
accredited voters,
Very well, sir. Well done.
that is 229. Accredited voters on the beavers, that is 229. Now, after cross-checking, you have a EC80 of 231 accredited. Then beavers is saying 229. Then vote cast is 280. The conclusion is that you have 51 excess votes. That is a ballot stuffing. So the PU code consistency check must be constant in all these with the beavers, with the RF and the physical location and physical polling location. Now, because of time, let's move ahead to okay, before we go to that one, we may ask the question, can we link PU code to a ballot? We may not be able to link a PU code to a ballot because all ballot in Nigeria is anonymous. But they have serial numbers. Now look at let's take this PU code 2405008 as an example. Okay, we have EC8A, that's the resource sheet. We also have ballot papers accreditation records. We have polling unit register. We have IFR uploads. All this we carry the same PU code in a polling unit, and everything must be consistent with each one of these instruments. Now, all we need to do is to obtain the ballot paper serial ranges or booklet issued to that particular polling unit, because the polling unit register and the ballot paper accreditation records will show how many of these ballot paper that is assigned to a given polling unit, and those ballot papers, they have serial numbers. So it is possible for you to say, well, yes, this serial if you go to ballot paper accreditation records, then you can know how many of these paper. For example, maybe we have serial ranges of about A1-001 to A1300. That's about 300. Anyone outside that range is from another polling unit. So let's move ahead. Another important thing on ballot paper is fingerprint. In fact, in Nigeria, that is what we use. I don't know whether later they can change it to using markings, but this is what we use. And the reason why we use fingerprint is because of its uniqueness. And it's because of its uniqueness, every human being carries fingerprint that is distinct, that is unique to him. Even all the fingers on our hands, none of them have the same fingerprint. They don't have the same print. Then because of permanence, so you cannot say because yesterday I used my fingerprint, today it has changed to another one. And then we have patterns. We have different patterns. So my pattern is different from your pattern. So because of this uniqueness, because of all these characteristics, fingerprint is very good for not only for election, but also for investigation of electoral malpractices. And in every fingerprint, all fingerprint can be generally classified into three. We have arch, as we have it on the screen. We have arch, we have loop, we have wall. though each one of them can be further classified into subdivisions. But let's just limit ourselves into this. Now, if you have in a polling unit, if you have two ballot papers carrying the same print, similar print, that is similar print, we have similar print on two or three ballot papers, that is a red flag. That is an indication that one person is thumb printing all this. Then apart from, though you may have two people belong to the same group, for example, now you may have two people having arch or loop, but if for example in the ballot box, maybe you have almost half of them belong to arch, and you have the other of it, the other numbers belonging to loop. That does not mean that election malpractice has, you cannot say it has happened, but until you go further and confirm, for example, you have the minute on each fingerprint, you have what you call minute. These are the fine details. These are the details that you have on the fingerprint. The details that you have on the fingerprint that can differentiate people, two people having the same, belonging to the same category. Maybe both of them are loop. They have loop, or they have arch. Both of them have arch. But you still need to go further and differentiate them using the minute, or we'll call it a Gatton point. So all this, please, can you still hear me?
We can still hear you, sir.
Yes, sir. We can hear you, sir.
My bandwidth is very low here.
We can hear you very well.
Okay. Now, this fingerprint is very good in proving of multiple thumb printing, ballot stuffing, impersonation, electoral fraud, violence-related contamination. For example, just as I said, if you're able to confirm that fingerprint on one person.
Sorry, we can't see your screen any longer, sir.
Okay,
we can't see your screen.
Okay, let me reshare it.
Very
Can
good.
you see it now?
Very good.
Yes.
Okay. For example, in a ballot box, you discover that you have the same print, the same type, the same minute on 2, 3, 4, 5, or even everything. That is an evidence of multiple thumb printing, because no two people can have the same thumb print, have the same print, either on the same either on thumbprint or any of the fingers. Then you can also use to prove ballot stuffing. Also, you can use to prove impersonation. Somebody may stay at home while another person will come and vote on his name, or using his some other material or his information to vote. So the forensic importance of fingerprint is something we cannot just set aside. Sorry, can you still hear me, please?
We can hear you, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, you can still hear me.
Sir.
Yes.
Yes,
Please,
sir.
Yes, sir. We can still hear you very well.
My network is.
We can hear you very well.
I want you to look at the screen. Okay, while waiting for my internet to my screen to come up, assuming let's just talk about this. It's just like another scenario where we have allegation of multiple thumb printing between two parties, party PPC and PDD, PPC and PPD, and the location is a polling unit 012, Ward 4, Lagos State. Then election type is a governorship election, for example. Now, the background of complaint is this: the petitioner alleges that 127 ballot papers were thumb printed in favor of candidate B. Many ballot papers appear to bear similar thumb impressions. Polling unit recorded usually high votes compared to accredited voters. Polling agent alleges collusion by polling officials. The election tribunal now orders forensic examination of the disputed ballots. Okay, let me share it again. The objective of this investigation is that tribunal direct the forensic expert to determine whether multiple ballot papers bear impression of the same finger, whether the thumbprint correspond to any identified suspect, then whether there is evidence of ballot stuffing. Those are the three things that we want to, that is scope of the forensic investigation. The first thing that you need to obtain is what you need to obtain are these materials. Number one, you need the disputed ballot papers. That's those 127 disputed ballot papers. And when they bring it, you must confirm that they brought them in a sealed container, forensically sealed container. Then another thing is the Beavers accreditation report for that polling unit, then certified through copy of polling unit result sheet. Then you have now you need the known fingerprint, the sample of known fingerprint from the presiding officer, assistant presiding officer, two polling agents, then then the electoral ad hoc staff. In this case, they have just only one. So you collect their fingerprint in order to match with what we have, the assets that you have there. Now, the first thing is, just as I said, you have to confirm that the chain of custody is intact. That is, from the polling unit, from the all the materials we are from the INEC office down to the polling unit. Then after the election, that is there's no reason to suspect that somebody had already tampered with the real documents, with the real evidence. So you have to confirm the chain of custody is still intact by confirming seal integrity, the document seal numbers. For example, the ballot papers, you will have to confirm that the serial numbers on them correlate with the one that was allocated to that polling unit. Then after that one, you do photograph of the ballot box before anything at all. You photograph it, then you take the log time and the date of that you receive. That you have to put it down that you observe no tampering. Then later you move on to visual examination. That's your observation. Thumbprint clearly visible in blue ink. If it is like that, you put it down. Then you also write down all those things that you observe. Then the next thing is to take photograph of the documentation. Each ballot paper must be photographed with full frame. Then later with close-up image at 1000 dpi, also with scale ruler placed beside each print. Then image safe in TIFF format. That TIFF format is, to those who understand what I'm trying to say, it's a format, we may not understand it, it's a format that it will make, it will not allow any of the stroke, any of the lines on the thumbprint to get lost. So it will retain it. Then you begin to group the print into groupings. So in a situation where you have a ballot paper about, let's say about group A, you have about 89 ballots with similar loop pattern. Group B, about 23 ballots with different wall pattern. Then you have about group C, you have about 15 ballots with unclear or smudge impressions. Now, then after you might have grouped them, then you go ahead and you have you do analysis. You do analysis of this. The analysis is that after you might have grouped them, then you go ahead and look at, because there are some of these, many of these, like 89, that belong to the same group, that is loop. 89 belong to loop, 23 belong to wall pattern. So you still need to go ahead and differentiate one ballot from another, one paper from another, using the detail, those fine details. Those fine details we call minutiae. You use them to differentiate them. So, now after this, you do the comparison of the fingerprints of those suspects that you have collected. You do the comparison. After the comparison, now you have to do exclusion or confirmation. So this one will help you to confirm that these electoral officers, maybe presiding officer or assistant presiding or poll agent, are already colluded and with a party, and now they have stuffed the ballot box with their own fingerprint impression. So and after that one, you have to verify, you have to allow another question document examiner to verify the work that you have done, that this one is correct or not. Then from that place, then you write your findings. The findings, then the next thing is to submit the report. Because of time, I'm going to stop here so that we can ask questions. Maybe the question can take us to any other one that I'm yet to touch.
Thank you so much, sir. Do we have questions?
Yeah. Yes.
Yes, we have questions, but my own is more of contribution.
Okay. So let's start with question.
The same thing with me is contribution.
Okay. So AIG, sir, please go ahead. We can raise our hands using the emoji.
Thank you very much.
AIG, Mr. Ibrahim Zake, you can ask your question. Mr.
Thank you very much,
Muhammad, are your hands still raised from the previous ones, or you have another question?
Yes, ma'am, I have a new question.
Okay. So we'll take Mr. Ibrahim Zake and Mr. Abubakar Mohammed after AIG Shehu Gwazu. All right, sir.
Thank you very much, the Chairman, Governing Council, Forensic Investigator Society, for a well-articulated presentation. I just want to contribute concerning the issue of ballot papers investigation. We participated in so many election fraud concerning multiple ballot papers, ballot stuffing, and so on, multiple voting. Once an expert is called to investigate multiple voting, and prima facie, when you go to the INEC office and you check the ballot papers physically and you have seen there are sign of multiple voting concerning what Mr. Olomo said, when you look at the pattern, because it will show you the characteristic. People can be grouped into 4, as he said, the arch, loop, wall, and so on. So when you see, for instance, loop coming up more than once, and they look similar, so the best way to have that one investigated is to scan the ballot papers, the one you are suspected to have been voted more than once. You scan them 1 to 1, because when there is an enlargement, you cannot get matching. 1-in-1 scanning, and it has to be in 500 to 600 dpi dot per inch. Then it has to be in JPEG form. You have to select JPEG, which is black and white. Then you have to obtain a CTC stamp by INEC representative who brought out the ballot papers from boxes or sacks or whatever. The ballot papers you scan, you have to get them physically and scan them and photocopy them, as he said. You have to photocopy them, bring them out, printed. They have to stamp them for you that you collected, because they will not give you the original. The original ballot papers will not be given by INEC, because the other party may want to go and do their own checking to see whether what you are saying is true. So 2 of you can scan, and party A can scan, while you may be representing party B. You can scan your own. All of you, all the ballot papers must be stamped when you are leaving the INEC office, so that when you now make comparison, they are the one you are going to present at the court. That's the stamp one. So these are the things I said I will clarify. Scan 1 to 1, so that there will not be, either it will be less or bigger. Then it has to be in JPEG form, and it has to be 500 to 600 dpi. These are the settings you have to do. Then you have to collect CTC from INEC. They have to sign it for you, put stamp, so that when you are presenting in court, you know that yes, you are coming from that particular polling station. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. All right, Mr. Ibrahim Zek, over to you.
Yes. Good morning, everyone. Mine, I have a contribution and also a question. Let me start with the contribution. When investigating this ballot paper of 18, we shouldn't concentrate only on the fingerprint. It should be a holistic investigation as far as a forensic expert is concerned, because the ballot paper itself is a security paper. So you have to analyze the substrate. The substrate is very important to see whether it is really a security paper that is required of a ballot paper. So we shouldn't concentrate only on the fingerprint. So we should do a holistic examination, including the stamp of the officer who issued the ballot paper for the voting, and the signature analysis of those officers involved. All these are very important. So as a forensic experts, we should take note of that. We shouldn't concentrate on only the fingerprint, please. Because when you go to court, you'll be asked, what do you think is wrong with the ballot paper? So they need the court needed a holistic approach towards such examination. Fingerprint, the substrate itself, which is the material used for the ballot paper, whether it matches the expected security features of such ballot papers. Then the stamp of the officer who issued the ballot paper for the voting, the signature of that officer, that is the signature analysis of that website. All these are very important, so let's take note of that. Then my question is, sir, Mr. Olomu, what scientific and technological methodology do you use for such analysis of these ballot papers? Thank you, sir.
All right. Mr. Abubakar Muhammad, please take your question so that Mr. Olomu can answer all at once.
Okay, thank you very much, ma'am, for giving me another chance
Yes,
to ask
thank you, Mr.
Mr. Olomu, please let
Okay.
Mr. Abubakar ask his question so you can take everything at once.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you very much. Let me just go straight to my question. My question is, when we have a case of possible electoral fraud, like we are just discussing, like Mr. Olomo discussed about ballot paper fraud, what are the criteria that qualifies someone to act as an expert to examine such kind of document? I happen to study my forensic science in India, and then there are certain qualifications or certain procedures that somebody has to fulfill for him to act as an expert. So I just want to know about the Nigerian perspective. What are the requirements that qualify someone to act as a forensic examiner or to act as a forensic expert in such kind of situations? Thank you very much once again.
All right, over to you, Mr. Olomu.
Okay, Mr. Ibrahim, I appreciate you for your contribution. Yes, thank you very much, sir.
Thank you, sir.
I was saying probably maybe because of network. I said because of time, we are just going to concentrate on two things. I said the polling unit code and that of fingerprint. So there are a lot of other things that if you begin to talk about it, we can't finish them in this seminar. But the purpose of this presentation is to enable people to know what is possible. There are simple things that you can even do, or you know that it is possible, so that you call people that can do it. So all of us can support the electoral process. So if this is just the gathering of forensic investigators alone, we will go deeper than this. Or if it is a workshop, this is just a seminar. The methodology is simply, let me just put it in a simple manner. It's comparative analysis. You compare what is known to what is not known, so that you can corroborate the theory or to refute it. Thank you, sir. Mr. Ahmed, I think Ahmed. To your question, before one can become a question document examiner, you might have undergone training in question document examination. Not every forensic examiner can work on question document. So you might have undergone training and be satisfied as a question document examiner before you can work on any document that its authenticity is in doubt.